Now, I would like to invite Chair Nathan Hunter to the podium to introduce our keynote speaker.
Our speaker this evening is Dr. Maurice Stinnett, Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion at BSE Global in Brooklyn, New York. With over 15 years of experience in diversity, inclusion, equity, social justice, and multicultural education, Dr. Stinnett is a dynamic leader and fierce advocate for equality and inclusion across the corporate, academic, and not-for-profit sectors. At BSE Global, he is responsible for developing innovative programming tailored for inclusion and cultural competence and providing leadership across BSE's brands, in particular for the National Basketball Association's Brooklyn Nets. Prior to joining BSE Global, Dr. Stinnett served as Chief Diversity Officer and Vice President of University Engagement at Cleveland State University and as Dean of Students at Central State University. Previously, he served as Senior Director of Community Engagement and Education at Central NIA, a non-for-profit organization that specializes in providing early childhood education, professional development to educators, and family support services in bilingual and multicultural environment to low-income families in the Washington, D.C. area. As an energetic and vibrant speaker, Mr. Stinnett is a frequent guest lecturer, keynote speaker, and workshop facilitator on issues of equity, inclusion, and diversity. He holds a Bachelor's of Art in Business from Central State University, a Master's of Divinity from Princeton Theological Seminary, and both a Master's of Education and a Doctor of Education in Urban Education and Leadership from Columbia University. Please welcome our speaker this evening, Dr. Maurice Stinnett.
If I'm in the right place on this evening, let me hear you make some noise for these graduates, Jefferson community. Let me hear you make some noise. Yeah. That's what I want to hear. Make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time. You know, this is always standing between you and getting this degree. And I went to a seminary, as you heard, Princeton Theological Seminary, and they teach you how the art of preaching. And one of my professors used to always say, when he got up to speak, he would say, "Blessed are the brief, for they shall be asked back." Okay, so I'm going to be very brief on this evening. I want to first thank your president, Dr. Ty Stone, the board of trustees, the faculty staff of Jefferson College, honored guests, and most importantly, the illustrious class of 2019. Let's put our hands together one more time for them. Now, I must tell you that I knew Dr. Stone before I arrived here today. Dr. Stone was my professor when I was a student undergrad at Central State University. And Dr. Stone still has this beautiful young-looking face even today. And so you could only imagine back then when I entered the classroom, this young, excited college student, I'm looking around and I'm scoping out the scene, and I don't think that the professor's in there at this time. So I'm letting my hair down and talking like I would talk just with my boys, etc. Lo and behold, this is Professor Stone who introduces herself, and the rest is a little bit history after that, right? She has a unique way of getting you in line with love and care. Does anybody know about that around here? And so, but I will say this about Dr. Stone. She invested in me and believed in me back then. She most definitely operates from a pedagogy of confidence, believing in the unlimited potential of every student. And she does not sympathize you into mediocrity. So I want to publicly thank you for believing in me back then and inviting me to be here today. Thank you. An African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. Go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go together. Today, class of 2019, I want to invite you on a journey with me. To take this journey with me that we will hopefully inform, empower, encourage, and inspire you in the days ahead. Now, this particular journey that I'm going to take you on started on a sunny day Picture this. I don't know if you ever watched The Golden Girls. Picture this. All right? July 17th, 1983. A little city in Springfield, Ohio. It was there on the corner of Liberty and Jackson Street that a little boy was being raised in poverty by a single-parent teenager who did not complete high school. The neighborhood that they were situated in was riddled with crime, drugs, and violence. The little boy saw a man shot and murdered at the park behind his home at the age of 7. In the 4th grade, his school counselor called his mother and had a meeting to discuss the possibility of holding him back because they believed he had learning disabilities. You see, he was only reading at a 2nd grade level in the 4th grade. They were concerned. But the mother did not believe or accept that diagnosis. Now, she knew her son and she knew his potential. She knew how he spoke, his vocabulary, and the intelligence that he demonstrated. She believed that he was only reading at a 2nd grade level, but she didn't believe that it was because he had a disability. Class of 2019, the first lesson that I want to drop on you is this. You don't have to accept others' truth as yours. You don't have to accept others' truth as yours. Define your truth. I know people will doubt you, second guess you, try to put you in a box based upon your past, your socioeconomic background, your gender, your sexuality, but you do not have to accept their truth as yours. You define your truth, you define your future, and you define your life. That's what I want to first drop on you. You see, this mother, she was acutely aware of the inequality that existed in the school funding in Ohio. She knew that she was raising a son in a predominantly black neighborhood, low income, and she was determined that he was not receiving the proper education. 4 times, family, the Ohio Supreme Court had ruled that the school funding system in Ohio was unconstitutional. But the problems persisted. And this mom, she knew her son was not receiving all of the resources and support that every child deserves in order to be successful. She knew that with this, he could not succeed, but if he received the supports that he could. This was her truth and her son's truth, and she was determined to stand on it. So what did this woman do? What did this mother do? She did what every good parent does. She advocated for her child. She made a way out of no way. I think I can pause right there and say, some of you up here have advocated for your children, made a way out of no way to make sure that they could be here today and to succeed. That's what good parents do. You see, this mother was a fighter. She went to the school board and she laid out her case before the school board about the inequalities that existed and the under-resourced education that her son was receiving. And do you know what happened as a result of her advocating? They granted her permission, a one-time opportunity to transfer him to a more affluent school that was well-funded, predominantly white on the north side of town. Let me pause and drop something, your second point on you. It is here that I'm going to encourage you, class of 2019. Let this mom's fight empower you, that you have to learn to advocate for yourself. Advocate for your community, advocate for equality and equity by any means necessary. Empower yourself and empower others. Don't simply accept the status quo. You are not graduating today from Jefferson Community College to simply maintain the status quo. You have been armed with the tools and education and resources to change the world for the better. That is the expectation. Don't settle for less. Advocate for equality in everything that you do. Now let me get back to the story. As he went to this well-funded school, the mother met an individual. The mother met an educator at this school by the name of Judith McLean. Now, Judith was a seasoned educator with a no-nonsense approach. She sat down with the young mother who began to lament to her about the diagnosis that the other school had given to her son. She shared and told her that she did not believe the report and asked Judith if she would assess the young man again. Judith agreed to assess this little boy, and when she came back to the mother after the assessment, she informed her that, yes, this young man is indeed reading at a 2nd grade level, and he's supposed to be going into the 5th grade. But she did not believe that it was because of a learning disability or that he needed to be held back. Judith said instead, he needs to be believed in and pushed to reach his fullest potential. I want that to sink in for a minute. Wait a minute, this 10-year-old needed to be believed in. He didn't need specialized instruction, technology, or fancy interventions. He needed encouragement. So I'm going to encourage you on today. If nobody else has told you, I'm going to tell you. You are enough. You are strong, capable, and talented. You are enough. What you bring to the world, what you bring to this space, you are enough. There are times that you will doubt this. You must surround yourself, though, once you leave this place with the Judiths of the world. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and will push you to be the best version of yourself. You are enough. And while you're surrounding yourself with the Judith of the world, make sure that you're a Judith for someone else. You've got to encourage them and remind them that they are enough because we are in this together. After 1 year of intervention, the little boy was assessed again, and he went from reading, and you won't believe it, at a second grade level to when they assessed that young man again, he was now reading in 1 year of encouragement, love, and care at an 8th grade level, the highest in the entire school system. The history of academic struggles growing up in poverty, being from a bad neighborhood, having a mom who did not graduate from high school, each of these things made many people think that he probably wouldn't graduate from high school. But he did. Not only did he graduate from high school, his mother and grandmother sat back beaming and watching him grow. He went on to attend Central State University, where he was elected marketing class president at Mr. Central State University West Campus. He was there and he met another powerful mentor and professor by the name of Professor Ty Stone, his Judith Stone in college. He went on, and after that, he went off to Princeton to get a master's degree in divinity. He became president of the Student Government Association. In that time, his wildest dreams happened. His mind was blown. He learned that he became one of 16 students selected by the President of the United States to participate in the World Leadership Program, a White House initiative under President Obama, which took him to countries that he never imagined visiting. He didn't stop there. He went on to attend the largest graduate school, Ivy League of education in the United States, Teachers College of Columbia University. And on July 2018, he made history by becoming the first black man to serve as a vice president of diversity and inclusion for an NBA team. Now, as you might have guessed by now, that little boy was Maurice. Why do I share that with you? Why is that important? It's not necessarily about me, it's sharing that I'm not unique. Family, that possibility and potential is each one of you. All you have to do is harness that power and believe in it. My final and fourth point is meant to inspire you. Through both times of celebration and excitement and those of hardship, you have to remember this one point. This is the point I want to underscore. For you, class of 2019, it doesn't matter how you start, but how you finish. Jefferson Community College class of 2019, I am proud of each and every one of you for getting across that finish line. Through setbacks, delays, tears, frustration, you finished. Heartache and heartbreak, failure and utter despair, you finished. Anxiety, depression, some of you suffer with loneliness, you finished. I'm confident that many of you entered into this space full of hope and excitement and joy, which quickly turned into doubt, disappointment, anxiety, and frustration after you faced challenge after challenge. When your money got funny, or your friends started to flake and no one really knew what was going on the inside of your mind, you finished. You made it. You are here. It doesn't matter how you start, but you finished. And for that, you should be thankful. Put your hands together for them for that. Class of 2019, you have finished, but it's not over. You have finished, but it's not over. Howard Thurman, the mentor of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., used to say this: find what makes you come alive and do that, because the world needs people who have come alive. Taking what you have learned here and living into your truth is your next task. Bringing this aliveness that you've discovered to each thing you do. Be contagious in your enthusiasm, boundless in the possibilities you imagine for yourself, your family, and your communities. 2019 class, I want you to go out to the world armed with the knowledge and experience that you have gained here, and I want you to turn this mother out. Thank you.
Maurice, thank you for making this commencement truly special. I am so proud of you, and I'm also grateful that I had some small role in the trajectory of your life. People often assume that serving as a mentor is only beneficial to the person you're mentoring, but it is not. It also enhances the mentor's life. My life has certainly been enriched as a result of knowing you and watching you flourish. Thank you for all the great work that you do globally to foster practices of inclusion and equity in the workplace.